Will here back again for another episode of Lights, Camera, Keco Collects. Lights, Camera, Keco, Marco Collects this fine Friday evening. It is Friday, June 9th of 2023, 5:19 p.m. We're approximately 4 minutes late, but your flight will be landing on time, I promise you. We're going to be landing into the weekend nice and smoothly. That said, guys, we got a lot of fun topics. Now I'm hearing myself on loop because I pulled up the I always pull up the stream on YouTube too, and then it's like a few seconds behind. You guys get that, and then it just plays on loop, and I'm like,
is that where you end up doing the comments? That's how I respond to comments.
That's how I respond to the comments, because if I type them in here, it'll type them on Facebook too. So then it's like it's a pain in the ass. So, but yeah, guys, we're gonna talk about some cool stuff. I didn't put in the thumbnail. Someone asked. We're gonna talk about the Venom that we saw. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about, the next moves for InArt. We're going to talk about the Flash, the DC stuff, the Boba Fett quarter scale. The Pattinson Batmobile was teased right next to the N1. We got the Batwing also next to the N1. We're going to do that. We're going to talk about a lot of cool stuff. Guys talking about hot toys, where we get them from. That said, before we do that, let's address our beautiful, wonderful Avengers level panel, and then we'll address the chat. Mr. Keco Collects, how are you doing this fine Friday evening, bro?
As I told you before I got on here, I'm great. Went on a little walk with the missus. She got home a little bit early today. Just got a little bit of vitamin D because we know how good that is. So if you're out there and you have an opportunity, just go on a 5-minute walk, 10-minute walk, take some time for yourself. And it really sets your day up if you do it in the morning and really ends your day the right way. And if you do it right before dinner, you feel even better because you're like, okay, I went and did, if everyone knows Liver King, you got to do that simulated successful hunt. You got to earn your rite of passage. So we went on a simulated hunt, and then we'll eat after this. So yeah,
that sounds great, bro. That sounds great, dude. I will say, Keco, I love walking, dude, because especially now the weather out is so good. Like, and I live out in the country, so I live out. There's plenty of great sights to see. It's just real open fields and shit. There's traffic, but you just stay at the side of the road. Just don't, just get out of the way, and you're fine. So, but it's walking is so relaxing. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll catch myself, Marco, be on my phone, and I'm like, the whole point of being out here is to not be on my phone. So it
happens though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But how you doing, Marco, this fine Friday?
I'm doing well. I have to second and third the walking thing. Like, totally sets your mood right. It is essential, honestly. And it's so minimal effort. Just go and walk around a bit. Like, you couldn't really ask for lower effort for sure.
Yeah.
Day is going well. A little stressed out. Ran straight from a really intense work meeting to on this stream, and my camera wasn't working. So we got it dialed in though. So
nice.
That's what Gigi finally kicked me out. So this is what all these boxes
are. I was wondering, Marco, are those Moducase boxes or something?
They're not. They're IKEA Billy bookshelves. So I'm going to have a proper display over here eventually. But for right now, I'm relegated to the back garage. So this is my new streaming setup, working through the kinks.
Okay. Well, that sounds good, bro. Have any of you, I wanted to ask, now we're talking about walking, have either of you guys tried meditation before? Because I feel like I've tried that before, and I actually really liked it, but I haven't really done it since. You guys ever done that?
I do when I'm playing Jedi Survivor.
you get one with the Force. Is that it, Keco?
Well, yeah. Whenever those are your save points. So whenever you need to meditate in the little circle, I do meditate.
Oh, is that how you do it? Oh, okay. See,
same with Fallen Order. Well, it's the same thing with Fallen Order. When you get to those little circles, you meditate, and that gives you force and your stems back and all that stuff, and then you can obviously upgrade your skill tree. Oh, Will, get on the game.
If it works for Cal, then it should work for us, right?
Right.
There we go.
And can I make one little side rant or whatever? So as I finally finished Fallen Order like last week or whatever, then I went balls deep in Survivor because I wanted to. It took me forever to finish Fallen Order because, as you know, Will, I'm not the most intense gamer. I go at a little bit slower pace. I just beat Ragnarok like not that long ago as well. It took me forever on Harry Potter, but either way, so I finally am caught up, and I went balls deep into Jedi Survivor. And I'm going to be honest with you, if we're going to talk about potential figures and things like that, I'm simping hard for Marin. Marin is my girl at this point.
Okay.
And yeah, so me and Cal got an issue going on because one of us need to figure out who's going to end up with the prize.
So it's like a Bella, Caleb, and what was Jacob?
Do not bring Twilight into this.
It's one of those. It's one of those.
Twilight is not anywhere close to the story that the Jedi Survivor Fallen Order series is. I mean, so shameful on that. Yeah, I do gotta say, like, I'm so impressed with the storytelling from Fallen Order and Survivor or whatever. Yeah. That is Star Wars storytelling, and I really appreciate that. So
yeah, I haven't got it yet because I'm replaying God of War Ragnarok. So, I haven't got it.
I still need to finish Ragnarok. Shame on me.
Well, shame on Keco, Marco, for not finishing Ragnarok because
no, because it took me forever to get my PS5, and everyone's like, you can't play Ragnarok until you play the original God of War. I'm like, okay. And so I had to go through the original God of War. So, I mean, that's not a short game either. So mix in God of War, then Harry Potter, then Ragnarok, then Fallen Order. Then I'm surprised I'm like 5 games deep here. I've not even started Zelda, the Tears of the Kingdom. I still need to do that one. So I got a lot to get done.
And wait till we get to Spider-Man, Marco.
Correct. Yeah. That's September, right? It's still a little bit away.
Yeah, probably a little ways away, but we're going to talk about it. Nonetheless, guys, before we get into our first topic, let's address the chat as much as I can here. I'll try to get to as much as I can. Arashk Nima, hi guys, keep up the great work as always. Love the streams. Thank you so much. I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing your name correctly. If I'm not, I apologize. Red in the Ledger, love that username. Blue Balls Batman is waitlisted. Love that name. We're going to talk about him, by the way. And actually, that wasn't even a plan to talk about how Sideshow rolled this out because I obviously didn't know they were going to do that today, but they did it, and we'll talk about it. And Keco has more experience than probably Marco and I do. So we'll lean on him for that one. Wonder Woman just went up $400. Yeah, we're going to talk about it. And now she's gone. So keeps getting bumped from my cart. Yep, pretty much. Tyria's here. Red in the Ledger. Yeah, this ain't going to happen. Yep. Dinesh is here. Rome Moreno, who got the Wonder Woman, got on the wait list. Action Box, Broken. They sent me 3 emails about Wonder Woman. Yeah. So we're going to talk about it probably first, actually.
Their system seems to be working really well.
Yeah. And you know what, guys? Thank you so much for all the comments. I think people will just want to get into this topic as quickly as possible. So let's just do it, and I'll address some of the comments maybe as we go. But okay. Oh, that's Batman. I want Wonder Woman, actually. Batman can come next, though, because we'll talk about him, and I gotta debate Keco on that one. But we'll talk about Wonder Woman first, okay? The best Wonder Woman ever? Question mark. Right? Because we don't know really, but what we do know is that Sideshow rolled this one out earlier today, right? And it's gone. So it's a waitlisted already. And Keco, I know you could speak to this one a little bit more. This one retailed, it was $400. So people do want to keep that in mind. I think there's only 300 worldwide of this. That's at least what I saw that Toys Wonderland was saying. However reputable they are. But basically, this is $400. It was on there real briefly. I know they posted an update, Keco, and then it waitlisted pretty quickly. What was your experience trying to buy this figure? Because I know a lot of people in the chat are going to probably relate to what you're talking about.
Well, it's 1,500, an entire 1,500 run, by the way, set up by regions. So I'm assuming that is, from what I understand, whenever they do that, unless it's like extremely limited, like 300 worldwide, and they will let you know that if it's the 1,500, Sideshow gets like the 300 allotment, and then the other like 300, 400 is based for Hong Kong, and then like the other secret bases and things like that, from what I understand. But there's 1,500 of these bad boys. The final allotment for this one for Sideshow, who the hell knows? But what I do know is that I learned a long time ago that if you want the inside scoop potentially for when these things are available, you have to be signed up for Twitter to get the Twitter tweets that things go up. So we'll talk about Batman in a second, but that's when I knew, hey, I need to be on top of my game if I want to be in this system to be able to figure this out. So the tweet went out about 10 minutes. We're talking about Wonder Woman specifically. The tweet went out about 10 minutes before it actually went live. And if you have that as your kind of litmus test, you're like, okay, I need to be ready because it's about to go. So when you get that tweet, you can either click the link directly and it takes you to the RSVP invite list, whatever it may be. And then that link goes live when it's able to be secured. So I'm sitting there and it goes live. I'd probably say it went live right around 3:50 or so. And I went through, I selected it, put it in my cart, put my method of payment, and then my error, I forgot to click the terms. And so then it spun, and then it put me back in and saying, you need to select your terms. So then by the time after I did that and it started to spin again, then it said you timed out. So I was like, oh no, because if I would have done it originally, I would have had it. Now you'd say, do you need this figure? I'm like, no, of course not, because I just wanted to be on the hype train like everybody else. But if I would have clicked both the buttons, I would have had it. But the issue is that you need to possibly do this from mobile, and you need to have the tweet to let you know beforehand. Because if you're waiting for these automated emails, like everyone said in the system, it's sold out by the time you got there. And you're done. And you can join the wait list and just hope at that point, or go to another preferred retailer to get it. So I have to say, I did not score this one. Spoiler alert, I scored Batman. But I knew that I was this close to getting it, and if I would have followed my protocol that I learned from the Captain America fiasco and such, I would have had it. So that is how it went down. And I know that there are some people in the chat that were able to get it, and there were several people that were just in the refresh page. But you need to be ready to go, knowing that you want it. It was in my cart, I think, with my Tennessee taxes and all that stuff. It was like plus shipping was like $468 out the door. That was steep, honestly. But for what you get, the best Wonder Woman ever at this point, yes, honestly. Now, Will, you and I discussed this a little bit when it was first announced. I was like, okay, now everyone complaining that they didn't like the sculpted hair on the 84 and they liked this sculpt of the golden armor, but they didn't like the hair. This is the mesh of both of those. It's the best of both worlds. You get the full body, you get the proper outfit, you get the cool base, the sword, your lasso of truth, and the cool shield. So what is the issue that people were having? Now, I know you pulled up this figure or this photo specifically because you're like, oh my God, they can't do the hair right. And
that's what I sound like.
it did. But this is also the issue, and we can go right back into it. People were wanting to see, when I complained about the InArt sculpt or the InArt rooting of my Joker.
Yeah.
Not all of them are going to translate properly. There are going to possibly be some futzing. And here it is. Is it the way that it was supposed to be as the promo pics look? Because they obviously set it up for a glamour shot. I think it looks pretty damn good in the glamour shot. I think that looks awesome. That is Gal Gadot. For those that say it's not, I don't know what you are missing. Like, I don't see how that is not her. I've seen like the comparison shots, the side-by-sides. Where am I missing it? And I'll agree. I'm not the biggest Wonder Woman fan. Outside of Batman, I'm not the biggest DC fan. So there may be some people, that are all in on the J&D life-size bust of Wonder Woman, and they know every pore on her body. But this looks like her to me. And I was like, okay, you want a rooted hair that looks good? You want the silicone, fully posable body, and the accurate outfit? What more do you want? So if you were able to follow this and you were actually wanting it and you did your RSVP, if you were following the tweets, you would have had it. So that's my take.
So people, you got to be on Twitter. I'm not on Twitter, so I'm missing all this stuff. I wonder, Keco, did they post it on Insta or was it just Twitter?
They did post it on Insta, but it's still delayed as composed. Twitter is the source of
Twitter's where you want to go
because you can't put links in Instagram.
Well, what you can do, Keco, you probably know, is if you want, Sideshow, you could put notifications on. So when Sideshow does post a tweet, it'll like go to your phone. You'll have that sort of push alert, right? So before I let Marco jump in on this one, Keco, I think you're fucking crazy. I think this Wonder Woman, bro, like, I am shocked that you like it as much as you do, because
I was considering putting it, obviously it was in my cart. I honestly felt that deep about it to where I'm like, dude, what I see Riley text. What's Riley say? It's like an 8, not exactly Gal. Keco will hate to hear it, but I'll wait for. Oh my God,
Riley, can I bring up Riley's comment?
Yes,
Riley, I'm the host. I'm bringing up Riley's comment. Riley, so I'm actually with Riley. I'm not waiting for InArt because I don't really care about Wonder Woman.
You will be old and gray by the time InArt actually.
That's probably true. But I will say, as far as this Wonder Woman is concerned, look, bro. Hot Toys can't do rooted hair. I think it's pretty much established because
go back to the production photos. This is
every time
intern that brought their figure and put it up at the display. Did you see the clowns that were just like walking around there? They showed like the people putting it together. They don't care. They're just the hired help.
But do you think average Joe has better skills than intern for Hot Toys though? I think that's a fundamental question too.
Dude, Marco, I don't even think it matters because this hair doesn't look good either.
What?
So
what is
all right? Now I know you're tripping. That hair looks great.
It doesn't, dude. It doesn't. It looks like the doll rooted hair that Hot Toys always does. Like what it looks like.
That is the scene. That is the part in her hair. Where else? What am I missing here?
Dude, to me, this looks like doll hair. This doesn't look like InArt quality rooted hair, in my opinion.
Do we need to go get my damn Joker and let's talk about
your Joker is the exception, bro. You know this.
His was a limited edition Afro version.
Well, like I said,
look at that, dude. I don't. Y'all are fucking tripping, bro.
That is a beautiful picture and
it's not, dude. It's not, dude.
Can you pull up a picture of the figure? Because this is a picture of Gal Gadot.
Thank you,
Marco. You're clearly breaking the tie on this one, but dude.
Here. Let's do an accurate. An accurate
let's run a poll
comparison or whatever. Pull up the other Wonder Woman rooted hair ones and look at the difference.
Oh yeah, this one's better, but it's not good. It's the best paper that a bad student turned in. Like the Hot Toys is excellent at everything except rooted hair. Rooted hair is the bane of their existence. They clearly have not figured it out, or they don't want to take the time to figure it out.
What is wrong with this one?
It looks like doll hair. It looks very
What
much.
does that
It doesn't
mean?
look realistic. It looks implanted. It doesn't look like legitimate rooted hair. Like if you look at like some of the customs you see, or I know you had a bad experience, but InArt, for example, with their rooted hair, or if I even look, obviously a bigger canvas, but I look at Pennywise's rooted hair for Prime 1, it looks natural. It looks real. This looks like doll hair. This looks like it was implanted in there, and it doesn't look real. It looks very artificial. That's how I would describe it. It just doesn't look like real hair. It looks like Barbie hair. That's what it looks like to me. The head sculpt. This is the best.
I disagree about a lot.
This is the best Wonder Woman for sure that they have
ever
done.
been disagreeing with you.
But I will say, Keco, I still think the training Wonder Woman is probably the best one, just because
sculpt or in general.
The sculpt.
Okay.
Yeah, the best sculpt. But that had sculpted hair rather, and it was I think it had sculpted hair, right? It was the ponytail.
Of course,
it was like the ponytail, right?
There's nothing to put on there. They might as well just put a Ray figure.
That'd have been pretty cool. That'd have been pretty cool if they did do it. But dude, Marco, I want to let you hop in on this one because I don't want to dominate this conversation. I know you more so side with Keco, but what do you think about this Wonder Woman? And also, what do you think about how Sideshow rolled this out? Because we got to talk about that.
So I think I actually fall somewhere in the middle of both of you. I know that's me playing both sides right here. So remind me if I'm incorrect here, but Sideshow has had a few different iterations of their system, right? With the Iron Man, the 100-year or whatever, the Disney special edition one. That was a lottery system, right? Okay, so this is back to the Captain America system, which didn't work particularly well when it was for Captain America. And this time, I don't think it worked very well either. So Kiko's completely right though. You've got to be Johnny on the spot. You've got to have all your links queued up. Sometimes these things go up live early, so you've just got to be ready to click, have all your information put in. So I obviously was running from a work meeting trying to get over here. So I was maybe 3 minutes late when I saw the link. I clicked it. I had it in my cart. I went to go. Even before I went to go check out, I paused. I was like, do I really want this? But I was like, well, it's still up. So let me figure it out. And then it's like, oh, someone else has it in their cart. That's right. Someone else has it in their cart. So I think that was a good indication that I didn't necessarily want it. And so I did try to check out a few times while I was trying to get my mic to work. No luck whatsoever. I don't love that system, but at least this didn't drag out for hours like the Captain.
That's the difference between this and the Captain America one, is that it went on for literally hours. This was over
because no one could get in.
Right. This was over and done in 15 minutes. People were salty that didn't get it, and that was it. And like, okay, join waitlist. We'll see what happens. Someone asked, hey, will the waitlist convert? Spoiler alert, no, it won't. I'll just let you know right now. It's not going to work.
It won't work. Yeah.
But,
so
no one who bought this is going to give it up, Marco, because why would they? Because they could flip it. Even if they don't want it, they could flip it.
Worst case scenario. Exactly. Right. So I think the system has improved. I still like the lottery a bit better, but perhaps this is a good compromise. Now, for the figure itself, I thought that the promotional images looked great. I thought the solicitation photos looked really, really great. And I just barely opened my Wonder Woman 84. So I'm not upset that they created this version. I think this is kind of a premium, kind of trying to compete with that next tier of figure. So I think that's great. And the fact that they did a limited run, also great. So I thought this looked really nice. Something that I wanted to for sure try to attempt to get, but not something that I'm super upset that I didn't get. I think for a few reasons, because it's just like the Wonder Woman 84 in terms of body, different colorway, but it's pretty much the same exact body. I bought a third party shield and sword for $20 on eBay. So I feel like I have my kind of bootleg version that's good enough for now. And then I know this gets said on every stream. So apologies to you and apologies to everyone in the chat, but I'm going to wait to see what InArt does, right? We know unless they really unless they completely change their next phase, it seems like they're going to, do a strong offering with Gal Gadot. And it's going to really compete with this one, right? So it might even be near the same price point. So overall, I wasn't super disappointed that I missed out, but I'm happy to see Keco take some really high quality pictures of it. And I'm sure that it's going to be nice, but it may involve a little more futzing than we're prepared for, right? Because InArt's shipping their Jokers and probably the Gandalf soon with those the plastic containers to kind of preserve the hair. Now I get that's kind of hit and miss, and some folks had some issues, but overall, I think that was a successful way to transport. I wouldn't be shocked if Hot Toys throws it in with a plastic bag and it's just like, you figure it out yourself. So we're going to really find out what their premium rooted hair looks like. So overall, I think it is a nice figure, and hopefully they do more releases like this, where they're trying something new and it's a bit limited. So
And they're
overall, I
saying
guess
mid-June is when they're going to potentially start shipping already. It says June to December is the release window.
that's
Yeah,
how
and,
it should be for these.
Batman was like that too, wasn't it? Keco, July to December or something like that.
Yeah, and I love to see that.
Yeah,
when you do have these exclusives and stuff, that's the one thing I didn't like about the D100 Iron Man is that it's still like a year away. I like the hype of, hunting, trying to get this, and knowing that if you did score, you're going to get it in a couple weeks.
It's on
That's
the
pretty
way.
cool. Yeah.
That's the only way they should do it, honestly.
we'll see, Marco, and I want to follow up with you guys on this one, and we can talk about this when we get into Batman too. And I'll ask the chat the same question. By the way, Keco, the chat is agreeing with you. They like the rooted hair. However, it's 69 to 31, so I'm coming back.
Nice.
I'm coming back.
Nice.
I'm gonna win. Yeah, 69 is a great number. But I will say, if we talk about, do we like that this is? Do we like this process? Like, because this is something that collectors may, I think a lot of us some of us are a little bit resistant to the idea of exclusivity. We don't want it for every single figure. We want most figures to be widely available, a wide release, so to speak. But we do like seeing these every now and then. That's something exclusive, and that's something like outside the norm, right? And as much as a lot of collectors say, like, I don't really care about exclusivity, like, it doesn't really matter to me. But then this happens and everyone seems to want it. Right. And that's when I think, like, that's what I like that Hot Toys is doing this. I don't want every figure to be exclusive. Don't hear what I'm not saying. But I do like this rare one every now and then where they will make some fun little exclusive like this. And again, as much as I don't really like the hair or the head sculpt's okay to me, the base is incredible. The body's incredible. The outfit's incredible. The accessories are great. Everything else. But do you guys like this process? Do you like what Sideshow did here? And do you want more exclusive figures? Marco, I'll start with you on that one.
Yeah, I think I do want more exclusive figures because it is fun. Like Kiko was saying, it's the thrill of the hunt, especially if it
Right.
comes kind of immediately or not too soon after you order it. It does add a nice new dimension for a hobby that's pretty exhausting, waiting years plus for most releases. This is a cool little wrinkle to, kind of inject some excitement. Now, I will say I like that they've chosen ostensibly repaints for most of these limited, right? So the Iron Man, the Captain America, even this Wonder Woman is almost a repaint with just some different hair. So I think if they stay within that realm, I'm totally fine with it because it's just variations of characters that you could have an opportunity to get at retail. And if you miss out, then okay, you just missed out on this particular version, but go get another version for cheaper. Now, if they did a character exclusively that you couldn't get anywhere else via this system, I think I would be pretty upset. So let's say like Namor is a character I wanted for a while.
Dude.
If they did a limited run Namor, which they wouldn't do, but let's just say they did that and I missed out, I think I would be pretty upset. I wouldn't want to go spend $600 to go secure him somewhere else. So I think if they stay within this kind of this business model, I'm totally happy. But how
What do
about
you
you,
think,
Kiko?
Kiko?
What do you think?
I've always been the proponent of give me a shot. I want an opportunity to try to do something. This may be a surprise to somebody. I've never bought a lottery ticket in my entire life. I've never played a slot. I've never been to a casino to do it because I don't waste my money. Some people's like, well, you have room full of toys, so obviously you waste your money. But I never put money towards something that I know that I don't have an opportunity to get something back from it. So a lottery system, I don't like it because I want an opportunity. Yeah, I'll put my name in and see if the ball drops because it's a free lottery, obviously. But I want the opportunity because with that being said, is that if I really want it and I love the exclusivity option, and let's say that I don't get it. Say Wonder Woman is who I got tattooed on my ass, and that's who I really, really want. And I'm like, oh, this is the one, and I missed it. I then know that, okay, this is one of the ones that I really need to chase and put some money aside or not get a dumb figure that I don't really need because this is the one I have to have. Because yes, these will be available because people will evidently, obviously, put them up for sale to make some money, whatever it may be. That's fine. But knowing that I had an opportunity to get it, if I miss out, it's okay because then it gives me a reason to chase. Because that's when it comes to collecting for me, I want to feel that chase. I want to feel that, I have something that somebody doesn't have. I know I've said that before and it sounds elitist or anything like that, but I love looking at collections that are different from other people's. How many times do you want to see the exact same display over and over and over again? Yeah, that's great if everyone likes the same thing, whatever. But that's why I try within my collection to put some pieces in there that I know people don't have. That's why I have, this 1/3, Venom statue, because there's not that many of them out there. That's why I have, certain pieces in here, because like why I paid for the Blitzway Ghostbusters, because not everybody has them, and I'm okay with that. And by knowing that, then I can chase it. So yeah, give me an opportunity. And if not, it really ratchets it up that tier level. You talk about tier-based collecting. This is how you know if you really want it or not. Because if you missed out on it and you said, oh, I need this, then go get it and figure out how you're going to go about doing so. And then when you do retrieve it and you actually get it, you can say, okay, grail item, because I actually pursued and I actually got it. Not everything's a grail, because the Mark 85 original is not a grail figure because there's 50 million of them made. That's not a grail figure. Something you chase and actually obtain because it's limited, that's, I feel, is more of a grail figure. So there's my little rant on that.
Okay. Well, I like hearing that, because to me, I mean, it is kind of cool to have a little bit of both. I like the best of both worlds. I think what Hot Toys is doing now is they're kind of testing the waters and being like, what if we do a couple more exclusives here and there and see how people feel about it? I mean, I really like having that Wenwu exclusive. I think it's pretty cool. Because yeah, I mean, I think it's a cool thing. I mean, it's a cool thing to kind of have exclusive piece. I wouldn't want everything to be like that, because like I said, I do want people to have ample opportunity to get the figures they want. And it would be very frustrating if every figure were exclusive, and then you wouldn't be able to get that Darth Vader that you want or that Cad Bane you wanted. So I like that they're doing it's a couple exclusives here and there. It doesn't really hurt anyone. It's an exclusive, every blue moon, right? So I think it's pretty cool. Yeah, I think having like a summer showcase, having a couple exclusives here and there would be kind of cool too. You know what I mean? Like do something, like for example, do a small run of something that not everyone would buy, but for example, like the Black Order, right? I've said that for a while. Like if you did Black Order and say, okay, we're gonna do exclusive run, maybe we'll do 500 of each of them or something, right? And like, that'd probably be fine. People would probably go crazy. I know I would pay whatever I had to get them. So it
would really give collectors a check, essentially, to check themselves if there were a few more exclusives. Because how many times do we see people, oh, got this because I could, don't really want it? If there were things that weren't as readily available, I feel like there would be less impulse buys. Yes, these are probably impulse buys because people are like, oh, exclusive, I need to have. But the more you do of those, the more that becomes the norm. They're like, I don't really need it. I'll chase it if I don't get it, type of thing. I feel like this is a good way to even out and almost not dilute the secondary market, but like try to get something back to normalcy, because it's collectibles, something that you collect, to where there's got to be not a mystique about it, but chase something. It shouldn't just be readily available all the time, like a mass-produced thing. Yes, I know there's 50,000 of these out there. I get it, but I hope I'm trying to make sense about some of that.
I think this is a good compromise, though, Keco, because I like Hot Toys because you can get them readily available, right? If you want it, you can normally get it. But I'm okay with them peppering in certain things that are a little more exclusive, as long as they kind of stick true to that. If you want it, you normally can get it, except this one that's a little bit more rare. I think that's a good compromise, because I don't want this to become like sneakers, because shoes are just so frustrating to try to get. I tried to get those Miles Morales ones, had no shot whatsoever.
Yeah.
And that's your only way you can get that in any way, shape, or form. So that's a bit more frustrating.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I remember back, it's crazy. It doesn't seem like that long ago, but trying to buy a PS5. I mean, oh my God. Like it was the most frustrating experience of my life. I feel like trying to buy anything. Like, I would wake up super early, just wait for the drop be on. The website would crash, could never get one because all the bots would swoop in. Like it was just such a pain in the ass. Like,
Wario 64 saved my life many times.
Dude. I think that would be a good compromise, guys. So thank you for your thoughts, guys, in the chat, and of course on the panel for your thoughts on this Wonder Woman. Let's move on right to our next topic. We're going to keep this discussion rolling because we got to talk about something else here that I have to argue with Keco about. So Batman, dude, WB100 Batman. Let's talk about it. Let me share my screen real quick because I got to pull up this Batman. When this popped up, I was like, that's very interesting, because I didn't think this would be one that people would really care for at all, but supposedly they do, because waitlisted, and Keco got his, so I'm very excited for him. So Keco, I want to let you take the stage here. What do you think? Who asked for this Batman? How good is this Batman? Do you like the process? Do you like this exclusive? What do you think?
Will, I told you this last week.
You did.
I did. If you want to rewind the tape back to all you bitches in the comments and in these videos saying, look at the Hall of Armor. Oh my God, I'm getting every single one. Shit, go ahead and give me the blue cape Batman. That's the only one I want, from a film that you may not even see him in. Okay. So this is, in my opinion, the definitive Batman. Christian Bale is the Dark Knight. Okay.
Oh,
Now,
okay.
Sorry.
I was going to say everyone
You were
clip
about to
that
lose
right
me
now,
there for a
please.
second, bro.
Anyway, so I agree that we don't talk about trilogy. We may need to actually do that discussion sometime. Best trilogies out there. The Dark Knight trilogy, I think, is one of the best trilogies of all time. And Christian Bale as Batman, the Dark Knight, I think is the best Batman that has ever been put on screen. I think it's the best superhero trilogy ever put on screen. So when you're doing WB 100 and you're celebrating 100 years of WB, you're going to go to your all-star hitters. You're going to go to Batman. You're going to go to Wonder Woman. I'm surprised they didn't do something with Superman. Maybe like a Christopher Reeves type of thing. You know, when you're thinking WB, that's kind of what I would think. Obviously Superman, but Batman is their bread and butter, as we've seen over the past 6 months. Everything Batman. So when this came up, I'm like, damn, this is cool, because this is the blue cow that everyone was bitching about last week from a mid-movie potentially that we are not even going to see the dude actually in, okay? But this is literally the same scheme that everyone was asking for. And so when you're like, I'm buying them all, I buy a Batman everything, y'all better been in line for this, and y'all better have gotten this, because I don't believe a thing y'all say anymore if that's the truth, because this is cool. Everyone's like, they must have had a bunch of DX19s sitting around and a bunch of Morbius bats, because that's all this is.
Morbius bats.
They just repainted it and put it out there. Man, Hot Toys is stepping off. Man, I can't believe it. InArt is the way to go. InArt's king. Come on now. Come on now. This is a really fun representation of an exclusive. That's what it is. If you don't want it, don't get it. But this is cool, because this is what everyone likes, the blue cow, the gray, comic inspired. If you even go, I think it's the last picture in the Sideshow deck. It says comic inspired color palette or whatever. Everyone's like, why isn't the cape blue? I don't know. They didn't go that route. Go buy yourself a blue cape. So this is cool. The matte gray and the blue, I think it pops. It's going to look awesome on the shelf. And it's the Batman, to where when I look up and I say, who played Batman? Christian Bale played Batman. Yes, I love Michael Keaton. I love Batman 89. I got every Batman 89 figure sitting over there. I get it. But this is the definitive Batman. Christian Bale. Like, the color, the schemes and aesthetics, it doesn't work on a suit that's highly detailed. I was like, okay, that's fine then. Then don't get it. But I don't want to hear a single person from last week saying, I'm going to buy every single one of those damn suits, and then you not be on the RSVP list for this. So wait out, baby. And yes, I got this because the tweet happened early, 10 minutes early. I really wanted it. I made sure when it dropped, I was ready. I got it in and out in 3 minutes. No problem.
So Keco, so we're tied 1-1 because the people were with you on Wonder Woman, but I think they're with me on this one
because that was an actual representation from the film. This is a different version. This
the poll right now is 80% no that they don't like this Batman. So we'll see how that shakes out.
Because they didn't get it. They're on the wait list. That's
why. Keco, this figure is terrible, bro.
No,
this figure is it is.
What don't you like about it?
This is Neon Tech Batman. That's what. Yes, bro. This dude, Neon. If this were not exclusive, nobody would want this. Nobody, absolutely no.
I would.
Maybe you, but that'd be.
It's cool,
dude. The colors. I know you mocked everything I'm about to say, but this is like 8 Mile. But the color scheme is not. It doesn't work, bro, because you have all that black and that blue. It just looks like it's a nice little sort of extra figure where you're kind of like, oh, that's a cool little unique look for Batman, but it just doesn't work for me personally.
I'm going to make a prediction right now, Will, is that when you come in back to Nashville, I do not want to hear your ass saying, damn, I wish I would have gotten this. This looks so much better.
Dude, could you imagine? It'll be like the Tumblr all over again.
It's going to happen. You're going to be saying, hey, man, can I see that Batman? And then you're like, I know you're going to. Gee, I wonder if I can find it from somebody else. I know it's going to happen.
Because people didn't know Keco. I don't know if we told people in the vlog or not. Where the whole time I was at Keco's, I was like, should I get the Tumblr, bro? I was like, every time it was like this running joke. I was like, should I get the Tumblr? But yeah, so this Batman, no, I don't think I'm changing my mind on this one, Keco. Maybe if I see it in person, I like the Morbius bats, so those are pretty cool.
So I'm going to dial it down just a little bit, and then I'll let Marco talk.
Yeah,
but. What don't you like? Is it because it's the metallic head? You said the colors don't work. It's the same suit, but just on a different...
blue. It's the blue. Yeah, I don't like the blue.
Okay.
Should have been like navy blue, right?
Yeah. Well, see, I like the new texture of the suit. It looks like the updated one from the Armory. That's what it kind of looks like to me. Yeah, it looks better than the DX19. It's like a DX19 but improved, and which I like. I like the suit and the detail in the suit. I don't like the blue, which is kind of the whole point of this figure, though. So I mean, it's kind of like you take away the blue, it's not. You might as well just put out the Armory one. But Yeah, I just don't really like it personally. But Marco, what do you think, bro, about this Batman? How are you feeling?
Yeah, so I'm going to be on both sides of the fence again. This is going to be my
You're the voice
forte
of
on
reason,
this
bro.
stream right here. So stop me if there's some cognitive dissonance going on here, but I think both things can be true. So I think this looks fucking goofy. Like I think overall it looks goofy.
Yeah.
This color scheme, when you try to think about the film, the trilogy, and you ever thought about him creating a blue and gray suit, like it totally goes against what the character would have done, right? He's trying to stay in the shadows, be in the darkness. So for him to have a light gray and light blue suit, it makes no sense whatsoever to me personally. Now,
You're
I don't
overthinking
collect.
it. Overthinking it.
Of course,
It's
come on.
Neon
Have
Tech
have
Batman.
you heard of me before, Kiko? I overthink everything. But so that's fine because I don't necessarily collect for just
He's
screen
got rids
accuracy.
going on in this.
That's there we go. So yeah, that's not super crucial to me, honestly. Like I think if something looks cool, it's fine enough to put on in the collection. So I do think that this looks interesting at the very least. It's an interesting attempt. I do think Kiko is right that it's going to look cool on the shelf. Like this will bring your eye to this particular figure because it's different, because it has a metallic, because it has that light gray. I think overall it's an interesting, at least aesthetic. But if I was Hot Toys, I would have gone with like maybe a navy blue, maybe like a darker, smokier gray would have been fit the character of this film of the Christian Bale Batman a bit closer than what they've chosen to do here. So for that reason, it didn't connect with me personally. And this is one that I saw the link pop up. I went to the page, I put it in my cart. I didn't even try to check out because like I don't think that I want this one. Although, and so who knows? Maybe I wouldn't even have been able to check out knowing the system, but to me, I kind of hesitated, and only because I love the Christian Bale Batman. But again, I just don't think that this is the representation that I would want for the Bale Batman. So I think, yeah, excited again for Kiko to have it in his collection, but for me, it's a no go.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, that's kind of how I feel too. And look, I'm excited for Kiko too. And I do think it could kind of pop on a shelf, but I almost feel like in the wrong ways. Like I look at it and I'm just kind of like, I don't know. But you, Marco, you make a really good point. It's kind of like, I don't know, because remember the whole scene with T'Challa where he was like, the point is kind of to not be noticed, right? And
Yeah.
then Batman just taking the opposite of what
He
T'Challa
literally
said.
stays in the shadows for the
Right,
for the
right.
entire trilogy. So
So, and that's kind of the point of it, though. It's obviously not a screen accurate Batman because they wanted to make something sort of unique and cool, but it just looks very half baked to me. Like, why not make the whole suit blue? Like, why not do something like
Because
that?
that's not the comic inspired version.
But then it would have been cooler, right? If you had more consistency in the color palette.
But then that's neon techish. If you're going to just paint the
prefer
whole damn
that.
thing blue, I mean, damn.
I think that would be pretty cool. But
So for all those people, last thing I'll say, for all those people looking at the armory suits or whatever, come on, you really want the guy, like you really want some of those suits, the Arctic suit and everything that's never going to see the light of day or whatever over this? I mean, come on.
yeah. Well, guys, thank you so much for your thoughts on that one. There are a couple super chats that I really want to get to. So I am so sorry, guys. It's so hard. It's harder on Melon, to be honest, than it is on StreamYard to access them. But we have some super chats here that I want to address real quick. The first one being my master and daddy, Carlos, apparently. So I didn't realize. Look at his fucking avatar, bro. Like, what the hell is that shit? He said, "Why
How
are
have
we
you not
talking
blocked
about
this guy
Barbies?"
yet?
I know. Why are we talking about Barbies? I'm sure Becca probably took that photo for him, but why are we talking about Barbies? That was in reference to the Wonder Woman, apparently. But I mean, that's kind of how I feel too. I mean, the head sculpt obviously is not Barbie. The head sculpt's still pretty solid, but it's not great in my opinion. But then the hair is problematic. So, but Kiko and I disagree, and the people seem to disagree with me. The people seem to be on the side of the Wonder Woman being good. Maybe I'm all on an island for that one. But thank you so much to Carlos for the super chat. And we had some other super chats that I want to address real quick before we move to our next topic. So my apology, guys, for the delay. Carlos with another one. This Batman is straight stupid. It's literally the Mark 15 Neon Tech repaint. They have so many DX19s, so they repurposed them. I don't know what's worse. This dumb Batman. Damn. All right. He said proximate midnight, bro. We're throwing him out. Kiko, I was on his side until the very end. So you and I are back. Enemy of my enemy, bro. So
yeah, to literally the neon techs are literal cash grabs.
Yeah. Right.
Don't say this is a WB 100. That's what it is. They're saying, hey, we're honoring going back to a legacy with something we know sells, the Christian Bale Batman. No,
It's
no big deal.
not a cash grab though.
I think it's a great homage.
I mean,
There we go.
It's a cash grab that works for both sides. Like if you like Keco, you win, and Hot Toys wins. So
I've never seen Listerine Iron Man fight anybody in real life. So anywhere in the comics, anything like that. At least you could see this Caped Crusader colors in multiple mediums. It just happens to be on Christian Bale. That's
what about Endgame Strange? Remember the Iron Man Strange?
I mean, that was technically from concept art, so I'll give you a pass on that.
Right.
I don't hate that one too. I haven't given up on maybe adding that at like
Don't
the
do
craziest
it,
bargain
Marco.
bin price ever. I like it kind of. It's interesting.
It's pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting. And we got another one from Nick, who is also saying this Batman is garbanzo beans. So interesting. So Keco, look, you're gonna have a grail, bro, because everyone else is off board on this one. So you're gonna have something that, you know, I've said this. Look, I've said this about Reva, for example, with how good that head sculpt is. And for the people who do love that character, since they probably made so few of them because of a low PO number, that one could become a grail because it's going to be an iconic look for her that she's never going to have again. And for the people who do want her and that are willing to pay for her when she sells out, I think she could be one like this Batman who people might go searching for. But
also known as Will going searching for when he sees it in hand. So,
dude, when I come to Tennessee, Keco, we're gonna film a live reaction, bro. When I see that Batman in person, I'm gonna be like, "That's pretty good. That's pretty good." But thank you so much, Nick. Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you, man. I don't think I missed any after that. So, yeah, guys, thank you so much for the super chats. I appreciate you. That said, should we? I guess we should tackle the Flash, right? I mean, might as well. I mean, there was a Flash announced. Is this the final gem of the DCEU, right? Because everything's about to change apparently. So, yeah, I'll pull it up. So I was going to pull it up on Comic Concepts because I posted an announcement like I, made a deal with Comic Concepts. So basically, I'll be working with them. So basically I'll be able to promote them, and that this will be something that you'll see on the streams. It really won't change anything about the content whatsoever. It'll just be, I'll just pull up their website a little bit more and you can see basically the difference. $279 versus Sideshow. You pay shipping and tax, and there's a $10 discount from Comic Concepts, or at least $5, something like that. So nonetheless, this Flash is out there, right? Pretty cool base. 2 head sculpts, a lot of cool accessories, right? You get a lot of cool stuff with him. This is the last Ezra Miller you're probably going to get, I would assume. So we're going to see the film supposedly has been getting like pretty mixed reviews as far as the critics, but people have been loving it. Like general audiences have been absolutely loving it. So I want to ask the question, Keco, is this the final gem of the DCEU? Because supposedly the film is pretty exciting. There's a lot of cool fan service apparently, and I do like the suit. I personally have no interest in this, Keco, but I think people will. What do you think?
People will inevitably be tied to it because it's a really cool suit and it's a iconic DC figure. But I do think this is just a flash in the pan, pun intended, is that I don't see this being critically revered as, man, this was the Infinity War of the DCU. This was the end game of the DCU to where, it signed off and boy, it ended with a bang. And I wish we could have gotten more. Snyderverse, this, blah, blah, blah. And let me just go on and say, I don't give a hoot who is in the suit. Okay. Don't give a hoot who's in the suit.
I like that.
Thank you. Is that we have to stop this idea. Well, I just can't give any money. That's Ezra Miller, personal problems. We can't do it.
Yeah.
This isn't my friend. This isn't anybody that I'm not condoning any of his behavior or anything like that, but you need to separate the intellectual property from the person or whatever. If you are a fan of the Flash or whatever, go get the damn figure. All right. Don't let someone that's virtue signaling saying you can't collect this with a good conscience. Get the figure if you like it. It's the Flash. If that's the best suit you're going to get, go for it. You don't have to put on the Ezra Miller head if you're really feeling that convicted about it. This is a comic book portrayal. Go for it. I think as far as a figure, it's really cool. And they've really stepped up their bases recently over the past few releases. I've been really pleased with that. I love the opportunities for posability. I've saw a lot of different things online saying this is the way the Spider-Man 2099 suit should have been. Just because look at the posability with something that's a restrictive suit. I agree. And from an artistic standpoint, I think that they absolutely captured the likeness 100% of what is on the screen. So if you are wanting this piece, don't let anyone tell you not to get it. If you don't feel the piece, or if you don't feel the piece, don't get it. It's that simple. I do not think it's going to be like the final thing to where everyone's like, oh, this is the last one. This is the Grail, you know, the definitive version, blah, blah, blah. I feel I've not seen the film myself. I've read reviews. I'm positively skeptical. I'm trying to go in with some happy endorphins going in there to where I'm not going to be blinded by a lot of negativity out there. I feel like it's going to be a mess just because there's nothing, you know, there's nothing after this and there's nothing that led to this. So it's probably just going to be a lot of member berries and berry, pun again. So I guess we'll see how it goes. But if this is your figure, get the figure. Don't let people sway you. That's all I can say. 100%.
I'm with you though, Keco, as far as the figure. I like the light up articulate, you know, in the chest, the light up feature in the chest. The base is awesome, like you said. The head sculpt is good. The suit, this is the coolest Flash Ezra Miller suit that they've done so far, no doubt about it, in any of the films. So this one's really, this is definitely a cool Flash suit. So I'm excited to see how this turns out. The texture and the material looks really cool too. It looks really intricate and detailed. So I really like how this looks. This looks pretty awesome. So, but for me, I just don't really care that much about the character. It's hard for me. I may be on an island on this one. It's a little bit harder to get excited for DC stuff right now because it's just all over the place. Like it's kind of like they're just kind of throwing stuff at the wall. And that's why I've been excited to see what James Gunn is going to do. He might totally come in and fuck it up, but I want to see some consistency and I want to see a little bit more of a plan, I guess. But that said, Marco, what do you think, man? Is this the final gem of the DCEU? Because the poll right now is pretty interesting. 72% of collectors, 70 now, are saying that they're not going to get the Flash. What do you think?
Yeah, the final gem of the DCEU is a really interesting question. I still hold out hope that they may do one more Aquaman. I think most folks will
Yeah.
probably forget about that film, but I'm still holding out that maybe that'll be the the final feather in the cap for the DCEU. But I will say I think that this figure looks terrific. Now, all the problems aside with the actor, they are problematic, right? There's a lot of allegations. So that did give me some pause. I was like, do I want this representation in my collection? But at the end of the day, I think Kiko's right. You're collecting the characters and maybe not necessarily the artists that portray those characters. At least that's how I decided to view it. So I think Flash is one of those characters that I didn't really follow via comics or any type of media as a kid, but I had a bunch of Flash like memorabilia, like figures. All I knew about the Flash was that they went fast and they looked cool. That was really all that I knew about Flash, but it was still like one of my favorite characters growing up. So I think that this is really true to like the comic accurate outfit, right? I think this design is exactly what I would have wanted. I do like the Justice League version, but I think this is a bit more in line with what I would collect in terms of if I'm building out a Justice League. Now I am just a Cyborg, Flash, and Aquaman away from having a full Justice League team. So I plan on picking up that Cyborg here pretty soon. And I have no problem with mixing and matching. So I think this Flash is going to be a perfect representation in my collection for my Justice League. And I'm incredibly excited for the film. I think it's going to be a banger, honestly. Andy Muschietti did it, right? That's your boy.
Yep. Great
So
director, bro.
so I've got a lot of faith that he's going to put out a really competent, fun film. So cannot wait to see it next week. And yeah, I'm already. It is a bit scary buying this and the Michael Keaton Batman already. Pre-ordering them already without having seen the film. But I think just for their coolness factor alone, I'm kind of comfortable just going all in on this film. So yeah, hopefully Hot Toys doesn't announce any more from this film. Give me a pause until I see it, please.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, what about, do you guys think people need to pre-order this Flash if they do want it? I mean, it's a very interesting time that we're in, like it's, I don't know what to believe anymore as far as waitlist or fake waitlist or whatever the case. So I don't know. I mean, people seem to overall be thinking that it's kind of getting closer now in the poll, but there's some people that do want this. If the film comes out as good as some people have said it is, though, I think you could have that poll start to shift the other direction.
Yeah,
I think if you could have, I think you could have a lot of people very excited, but I think you are right, Keco, which I think is going to be fine. Cause look, I love No Way Home. I know it's not, you think it's okay. Right. But No Way Home is a lot of member berries too. Like, let's be real about it. But it works. And I think that's what Flash is going for also. It's going to pretty much go for the same type of feel. And I think it's going to work because Member Berries gets people. And I think overall, like you said, Marco, Andy Muschietti is a really good director. And I think they got a pretty strong cast. They're bringing Michael Keaton back, obviously, which is a huge selling point of this film for most people. So I think at the end of the day, people could really want this Flash if the film is as good. I mean, I know Chris Stuckman's review, and I've seen other reviewers just say this film is awesome. So
Heck yeah.
So
Can I say though, if they don't do a Supergirl, we will riot.
I think they
have to do a
will. Yeah, I
Supergirl.
think they will. Yeah.
I would assume so. They've already got the technology in place, right? They already know how to do a Superman suit. So
Right. I think they will. And there's going to be some surprises in the film from what I'm understanding. So there's probably going to be other figures. I think this could be a deep line, and this is probably a deeper line than Hot Toys tends to go for DC figures. But you're going to get every Batman that's reasonable for them to make. You're going to get that, and then you're going to get maybe some accessories, and then I don't know. You might only get one Flash. I don't know. We'll see. But they'll probably make Supergirl. They'll probably make some other. Maybe they'll make another Zod. I don't know. But that Zod didn't sell well originally, so. I don't know if they'll want to revisit that, but nonetheless, I'm excited for the film too. I'm excited to see what this line. I think there's going to be a lot of fun surprises, so it'll be cool. Anyway, guys, let us know your thoughts in the comments below about this Flash film and this Flash figure. I think it's pretty cool, so I think it'll be pretty exciting nonetheless. Let's talk about something else pretty exciting. We're shifting gears just a little bit here from the DC stuff we've talked about. Okay, this is going to be fun because we have a new Spider-Man game that is coming out. I think, like Keco was saying, sometime around September, I think, right? They're releasing promo images, right? This is a promo image released from Sony, right? And from, it's not, who is the studio making this game? I forget. Insomniac.
Insomniac.
Right? Yeah, Insomniac.
Yeah.
So, because they made the first one, and Insomniac, dude, the first Spider-Man game, guys, if you have a PlayStation, you have not played the first Spider-Man game on PS4, please go play that thing. It is incredible. Great game. So many great action set pieces. The character development for Peter, even for Miles in that game. And you can play the Miles Morales game too, which is also awesome. That one's sort of like it's a full game, but it's like 7 or 8 hours, maybe. It's not quite as long as the regular game. But anyway, they released some promo art. They showed Kraven another shot, but more importantly, they showed our favorite boy, Venom, here. And guess what he has? A spider logo dead in the middle of his chest, just like a target, right? So, how long, in the time I've been collecting, there have been a lot of collectors, including myself for quite a while, saying, I want Venom with a spider logo on the chest. Well, now you're probably going to get one because I don't think Hot Toys is going to pass on the opportunity to make a Venom. But Keco, I know you might disagree with me. What do you think? Are collectors going to bail on the Tom Hardy Venom when this one gets announced, or do you think it gets announced at all?
You sent this to me, Will, before we started, and I told you a sneak preview. This is not being made, okay? And I know people are going to flame me in the comments for this, but let's use a little bit of logic, and let's think through this. Can you tell me one other villain that was made from the original Spider-Man game?
Yeah, there weren't any.
Okay. If you're going to do a villain, Venom would be it, all right? But look how big he is compared to Miles. They never made Cole Obsidian, all right? And this is kind of Cole Obsidian size. If you look at how big the Miles is, and I have both the Miles and the Spider-Man, that Miles probably is about going to come up to right towards the tail end, or just like right at his hips, essentially. This is twice, if not 2.5 times the size of the Miles and the Spider-Man. It's too big to make. And if people aren't paying $500 or whatever for Carnage, you really think they're going to pay $600 for something like this at this size? I don't see the margins. I don't see the feasibility to do that. And you even said, well, what about Venom Pool? Venom Pool still fits in a DTOF, and he's the same size essentially as the height wise of the other Venom. This is not fitting in your DTOF. This is not being made. It's too big. Everyone's like, and this isn't even Eddie Brock. It's Matt Cargan.
It's not Eddie Brock.
Yeah, it's not. It's It's Matt Cargan. And so that's another thing. Do you really want to go all in on somebody that's not the definitive version of Venom? I'm very, very skeptical. Now, I saw all the things potentially for Kraven. Give me a Kraven. That would be cool potentially. But I just do not see them being able to pull this off, because either you scale him down, to which people are going to be pissed about, or I don't know what you do. But I think this is not being made. They've never made a villain before. I know Venom is money. They've even made those ridiculous statues. You've seen those, right? They're like the little like power pose, like little statues or whatever. It looked terrible.
Yeah.
But I just don't see this one coming. I just don't, man. talk me into it.
Well, no, hey, it's a valid point, because when you said that, I was like pretty much just already assuming they were going to make it. But you raise a valid point that they could very well not. I think maybe you and I are interpreting the size of this Venom a little bit differently, because to me, he's not quite Call Obsidian size. He looks like he's obviously bigger than them, right? But Miles is also like a teenager in this film, so you have to remember he's not as big as Peter, right? So in this film, sorry, this game. So Miles is still pretty young. So he's not quite Spider-Verse Miles, but he's not full-grown adult either. You know what I mean? So
well, the figure's only like this much different compared to the two.
right. So, but I think at the end of the day, I mean, I think this Venom, I mean, I think I saw the Venom pool in your collection. I've never owned the Venom pool, obviously, but I think he's maybe about Venom pool size or slightly bigger. So I don't know that he would be 600. Like the spider logo might be a little bit difficult to do. Like say they did the Venom sort of style like they did with the original Venom, right? Where it's kind of like gooey and stuff. Putting the spider logo on that, I'm sure they could find a way, but it might be prove challenging. I don't know. I think this is going to be made, Keco. I think overall, you are right. You raise a very valid point. There's a precedent there from the first game that they did not make a villain from the first game. However, they did not have a Venom type of figure or character there. I mean, Doc Ock was great, but he ain't Venom, right? So
Sure.
I think most collectors would be a little more excited. But Mark, I want to let you jump in. What do you think? I mean, do you think this Venom gets made? If so, do you think collectors will bail on the Tom Hardy Venom for this one?
Yeah, I think they're absolutely going to find a way to make this Venom, right? It's too popular of a character for them to pass on. The fact that they were able to do that Carnage, which just arrived for me today, so I'm excited to open that thing up.
Dude.
Right? If it's, I know Keco took some really great pictures of it, but if they could find a way to do that at that scale, because that's live action, this is video game, they could probably take some, liberties and say like, okay, that's the maximum height we can do of a Venom figure. We'll make them a little more beefed up, and it could potentially pair really well with that Carnage. I like this design. I think this is exactly what people would want in a figure. And so I think Hot Toys knows that based on the reception of the both Venom versions that they did. So I think that they're again going to find a way to do this. Now, will collectors bail on the original two versions? I think some will, right? But I think enough folks will understand that, if you got the special edition, you've got the Tom Hardy head sculpt, it's Eddie Brock. Like Kiko said, this is a different iteration of the character. So I think you would be smart to have both exist in your collection. If you love Venom as much as a lot of us do, it really makes sense to, that's your live action representation. And this is your more video game centric representation. That's probably going to be ultimately a really terrific figure if they make it just as good as the current Venom, and if they improve on that, or kind of incorporate some of the tech from the Carnage, then I think it could be it could be an amazing figure. So looking forward to Hot Toys making a bunch of Spider-Man, Miles Morales, maybe Venoms from this game, and definitely Craven as well. So I think this will be a deep line, which is kind of scary.
And don't get me wrong, I don't want people thinking I don't want this. As
I know you want it.
I have a giant Venom. Venom is my guy. I want this. I just
Someone clip him saying, "I don't want this."
Right? No. Don't make a TikTok out of me.
Yeah,
but I want this. I want it to happen. I just don't see it actually happening. I hope I'm wrong. This is of all the things I hope I'm wrong about. This is the one I hope I am wrong about. I don't want to be wrong about the Dark Side Anakin and all those different things, but this is the one I do hope I'm wrong about. But I think I'm going to be right.
Right. You might be, Keco. You might be bringing some, some logic into this. But guys, let us know in the comments below, what you think. Is this Venom going to get made? If so, are collectors going to bail on the OG Venom? This would be a tough one for me, Marco, because I know, like you mentioned, having both exist in your collection, it's a matter of space for me, because these would be big boys. If I had to choose, and this Venom came out looking as good as it looks right now, like say it's just like the other Venom, basically, slightly different, but with a spider logo, I'd probably pick this one, because I think you could match it up with your Carnage pretty nicely, and it would be fine. Like, it's not obviously accurate per se, but
I get people saying they just want. I think someone in the comments said, "I just want the bug on the chest. We've been waiting for the bug on the chest."
I think a lot of people.
I really do, and I think if available, people will not bail, but they will go for this for sure.
I think you'll see a lot of OG Venoms listed. Yeah, I think you.
Yeah, I think you are right. A lot of folks will bail, but can I present an alternative here?
Yeah.
Since space is a consideration for all of us, there's a real, easy way that you can make the footprint kind of shrink down. So I've seen a lot of folks with the Venom kind of holding either Miles or Spider-Man. You could do a lot of different iterations of the Venom holding one of the Spider-Men. So that could kind of reduce your footprint, and you can incorporate a different type of dynamic to your collection while still bringing this in. So you're welcome. That was free advice right there.
There you go. Perfect. Well, free advice from Marco. Guys, we got some super chats to address. Carlos, again, I'm not even going to say his stupid username. It's pre-gun DC. This is going to flop harder than Black Adam. Let's go back to that lame-ass blue Batman. Nah, dude, I don't think Flash is going to flop. I don't think so. I think people are pretty. I think the addition of Keaton is what got people interested in this film. Like, if you had not had Michael Keaton in this film, I think maybe you could make the argument. But now that Keaton's in there and he's been such a huge part of the marketing, I think they knew what they were doing. So, and I think the word of mouth is pretty good. So people have been saying pretty nice things about it. So, but thanks for the super chat, bro. I appreciate you. I don't think the film's gonna flop though. I think there's been a lot of DC flops and some Marvel flops in recent times. But Keco, I think you have an offer. So I think Carlos is saying, Keco, let's bet $50. Hot Toys makes his Venom. This will get made. Probably Power Pose like your Target exclusive King Shark. Kiko, do you want to take that bet?
I'm still waiting to decide what we're supposed to do about the N1 for the Ecto. So.
Oh, right. Dude, yeah, that's true, Carlos. We got to get that decided first before we make Kiko bet. So, thank you so much, bro. Appreciate you. Nick's Collectible Super Chat. Thank you so much, bro. The Wrestling King himself. Guys, check out 16 Wrestling on Nick's channel. Nick's_collectibles. Amazing content over there. I want Spider-Man 3 Venom. He's the GOAT. Yeah, well, I mean, maybe that'll be an exclusive one at some point. You know? Hot Toys be like, yeah, we're going to make 52 of these because Nick would want one and maybe a couple other people. So, yeah, no one really wants that Venom. But anyway, Nick, I'm sure at some point, you know, it would be a cool Venom, but I think he's just trolling us, so it's fine. All right, guys. So let's address another piece of news that we got here. Quarter scale, right? So not a lot of collectors. I saw something pretty exciting, by the way, on a side note about quarter scale. Someone was saying in one of the groups that I think it was a place for collecting, they would love to see an Iron Man Battle Image 85 in quarter scale. And I was like, that actually would be a good quarter scale figure to make. Not a lot of collectors really seem to support quarter scale, but I think that would be one that I'd be like, that would be kind of tempting for me too. So I guess it just depends on the figure. That said, we did get a release in quarter scale, and it's this Boba Fett from the book of Boba Fett. And got to ask the question, Kiko, do collectors give a shit about quarter scale? Because I don't think they do. I don't think, because this figure looks fantastic. Look at that head sculpt. I mean, this is one of the best head sculpts they maybe ever have done. I mean, this is beautiful. And the figure looks great. The base is cool. There's been so many good quarter scale figures, but just no one seems to give a shit. What do you think?
Has there, though? Has there been great quarter scale figures?
Because I think the Darth Vader's pretty great.
As owners of quarter scale figures, like I saw this and I was like, yawn. Like, I have Mando, I've had Darth Vader, or I have Darth Vader, I have Mando. I have no desire to continue to add quarter scale figures unless someone literally gave it to me, essentially, or I got it for like $100 or something like that. The price point and the real estate just do not line up for me at all. There's way too much room that it takes up, especially if you're. And when you do go quarter scale, you need to go deluxe. You need to go with get the big base and everything, because those are pieces of art in themselves. Very cool. But man, the real estate that this takes up for the price point and the shipping is absurd to me. And I've seen people say, if you're going to collect quarter scale, only collect quarter scale, and that way you can help, plan out your purchases a little bit easier. You can say, okay, I only get like 3 releases a year. That's cool. I'm going to get these 3 figures a year. I can kind of rein myself in. And I get that. That's cool if that's for you. But as someone who has a majority of their collection being 6 scale, I'm not doing this again. I was really hyped when I saw the Vader in person because I got it from Replay Toys. And I'm like, this is cool. It's Darth Vader. Let me get this home. So with that being said, I was super cool with like let me try the Mando. And then I got Mando in, and I've never been like more like sad that I have that taking up real estate than I have been, because they sit everywhere. There's no resale value on them at all. You can't move them if you do want to move it out without taking a loss, because it's like a statue at that point. They're just too big to move. And if you want to go the quarter scale route, make sure you really like it, because unless it's like the Terminator endoskeleton to where, those are very hard to come by and such, you're going to not be able to move it unless you're taking a serious loss. So that's the one thing I would say. So do collectors care about quarter scale? Depends on what you're collecting, I guess. If you're collecting quarter scale, probably. If you're an average 6 scale collector, not it for me, man.
I would say most collectors don't collect quarter scale, though, that do Hot Toys. You know what I mean? I'm surprised they still make them, because Pop Culture, Sideshow, other places, they discount the shit out of quarter scale figures. I mean, they're just like giving them away. Like, by the way, did you see it was funny yesterday? They were giving away the Stanley Barbers.
Yes.
That was fucking hilarious because I
missed
almost
that.
checked out the Infinity Gauntlet and they were like, you get a free Stanley Barber just for being alive. Like they were just like giving them away. So yeah, it's pretty wild. But Marco, what do you think? I mean, I've only owned one quarter scale hot toy myself. It was the Joker, the Heath Ledger Joker. And I sold it because I knew I was getting the Queen one, which is fantastic, by the way. But Marco, what do you think? I mean, do collectors seem to care about quarter scale? And what do you think about this Boba Fett?
Yeah, I don't think most collectors do care about quarter scale. I think this is Hot Toys, not understanding their market well enough, right? And I would assume that they're not going to continue to do these too much longer. I mean, we'll see how long this one sits around, but um, they're just hard to match in your collection, right? I think the concept sounds great, and I would love to add some quarter scale of characters that I love, such as the Bale Batman. I know that's out there right now. I could go get it if I wanted it, but then I think about, well, I've already got that representation in 1/6. Do I necessarily need this next level of or the next scale up? And to me, that doesn't necessarily make sense. I would rather have other characters from that line. Give me a Scarecrow. Give me Talia al Ghul, right? Give me any of those random characters from the Dark Knight instead of me going to get a quarter scale figure. And so that's that instance where I've already got representation. If I don't have representation in 1/6, then I would either rather go grab the 1/6, or if they haven't created it yet, which is like a pretty rare, if not non-existent instance, then yes. So at the end of the day, I think most of us are just coming back to we would rather have something in 1/6. We can appreciate this from afar, but the price point and the scale just doesn't necessarily fit in with most people's collection. So yeah, I think they're just really hard to care about. Although this one is beautiful, I did see this in person. It looks terrific, but just nothing that compels me to go get it.
Yeah, that's understandable. That's very reasonable. And I think that's where a lot of collectors are going to fall on this one. It does look great. The show was a little bit divisive, polarizing. I mean, some people loved it, some didn't, some were kind of so-so on it. I thought it was okay. I didn't really hate it, but I certainly didn't love it. I thought the best thing about it was Cad Bane, to be honest. Which was interesting, but I can't deny how good this figure looks. But it doesn't really matter how good a quarter scale is from Hot Toys; it's going to sit regardless. Like whether it's Mando or Vader or Boba or Spider. That Spider-Man Deluxe is pretty cool with that Vulture base. That one's pretty great, and they were
That one's
discounting.
been tempting.
Yeah, they discounted the fuck out of it. And Marco, I've been looking at the Bale Batman too because I have the quarter scale Joker, and I was like, well, that Bale Batman would be pretty cool, but just dude, that thing's going to be bargain bin so fast. They're going to discount that thing so hard. It's there's quarter scale figures. If you're patient, you will get that thing. Pop Culture, worst case, will have it, and you'll get it for $300 shipped or something. Like
And that's
it'll
kind of
be
the
sold
sweet spot for
yeah.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, if it drops to that, I would honestly consider getting it, but definitely not at the price it's at currently.
right. Exactly. So anyway, guys, let us know your thoughts on the quarter scale figures from Hot Toys. Should they keep making them? Is there a certain character you want to see? Let us know. Because I think people would be interested to hear, whether you're interested against, I'm certainly sure Hot Toys would be. That said, we're going to jump back on the DC train. We got to jump back on the tracks here because they teased a few things that I do want to talk about. And I know Keco will probably want to share his opinions on, because they'll go right next to the N1, apparently. So Hot Toys teased a couple things. One of them being a Batwing, one of them being a tumbler. They teased a camo tumbler, which was obviously made forever ago, and they could be remaking it. Who knows? They could just be flexing on us. They also have a Robert Pattinson Batmobile, right? So they have a lot of different options available at this show, not for purchase, but for display, right? For eye candy. That said, Keco, is Hot Toys playing tiddlywinks with our heart? Because they have shown a Batwing here. They showed a Pattinson Batmobile, which I know Riley probably almost fainted over. And there's going to be a lot of cool things at this show here, or was. And is there any chance of these actually getting made? What do you think?
No, these are the hype pieces for. I mean, the chances of these being made, or the chances of those 20-foot tall Batmans being made that are sitting at the arch of this type of thing. If they can fabricate those, obviously for the entrance, that life-size Flash, when you walk into the entrance of this exhibit or whatever, it's the same thing. It's just like hey, let's get hype about this. Let's get cool. And case in point, the Leonidas from 300 still sitting in this display.
I saw that.
They brought that tumbler has been out in the storage forever. That Batwing has been sitting there forever. I mean, they're just they're hype pieces. That's all it is, just to get you really excited and really, saying, man, this would be really nice. And prove me wrong, as I've said. And it gets you talking, it gets us talking, it gets us clicks when people ultimately see the thumbnail. I'm like, oh, they released it. No, they didn't.
Right.
Because I really do think that the vehicle thing at this size and scale just isn't going to be their wheelhouse at this point. For someone who's, like I said, I can't do speeder bikes and things anymore. The only ones I made the exception for were the Tumbler and the Batmobile and the DeLorean, because those are the only ones I actually wanted. I said that. Now I sound silly saying I'm not doing any vehicles. I just listed 3 of them, and I'm wanting the Ecto, which we've talked about forever. So, okay, shame on me. I'm talking out my ass. But no, these aren't going to be made. They're teased. That's all that is. And I still stand by the fact that the N1 will not be made.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm still holding out hope the N1 will be made, but Keco, by the day, I'm losing hope, bro. And I'm by the day starting to think that you might have been right. But you never know. Because, I mean, Mando season 3 came and went, no announcement. And that was probably the time to do it. But Hot Toys never seem to give a fuck about timing. They're just like, we're going to drop the N1 on Thanksgiving Day. And that's what they'll do, right? And everyone will still be excited about it. Marco, what do you think? Is there any sort of hope here, or Hot Toys playing tiddlywinks with our heart? I know Riley loves when I say that. So what do you think, Marco?
Tiddlywinks with our heart.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I think they are pulling on our heartstrings just a little bit here. Okay, so here's some evidence on why these won't happen. So number one, the Tumblr reissue is sitting around for forever, right? We're talking about bargain bin.
Right.
That thing we probably haven't seen as low as it goes. They've had a whole big issue with the DeLorean now. They haven't addressed it. I think they've addressed maybe the design in future iterations, but I think that's all speculation. I just got mine in, so excited to open that up as well. But so they haven't had like the great track record with these vehicles. That being said, I think the Pattinson Batmobile is coming. I think because other companies, we know Jazz Inc.'s doing it. We know InArt eventually, who knows what eventually means, but eventually want to do it. I think Hot Toys will enter this ring, especially there's another film coming up. It can kind of live in that space between the first film and the second film. Now, I'm sure he'll have improvements to the Batmobile, but I think I think this one makes too much sense because the design is not incredibly complex. It looks beautiful. I think this would be a high seller for them, and the fact that they're going to have their Batman hopefully drop in here in the near future. I think this one eventually will come out. The others, such as the Batwing, I don't think they're going to touch that one because obviously Jazz Inc. has done such an impressive piece. If they released a little tiny thing, it wouldn't look as good for them. So yeah, so I think most of those will stay on the design floor, but I think this one will eventually come home just because just such a cool design.
Yeah.
I'm a mid-film though. Why would you want that?
Wow, how dare you?
I do actually agree with Keco, but yeah, it's funny. Like I do. So yeah, it's not Dark Knight, but yeah, it's good.
It's still a fun film, but when the Riddler started singing, they did lose me for a second. I was
Dude,
like,
that
what are
scene
they
lost me a
doing?
little bit too, and it feel like it had the opposite impact that it was supposed to. Like people in my theater were actually laughing, and I was like, "This is not what they were going for." Yeah, it was meant to be like, "Oh, he's kind of crazy over the top," and I liked Paul Dano's performance. Other than that, I thought he was great. But then that scene, I was like, "That's supposed to be like sort of his Oscar scene," you know what I mean? And it just didn't really land the way that most people.
He was trying to do Heath, and he just missed the mark
Right,
completely.
exactly, and it's in the script. I mean, the script has him singing apparently. So, but I mean, I do like this Batmobile. This is pretty cool. I do want to see though. I do want to see Hot Toys announce this because I want to see how many people stick with their Jazz Inc. That's what I want. That's going to be fascinating data for me to look at. I'm going to be like, okay, like I obviously won't know the exact numbers, but I'll just sort of guesstimate.
How does that work for Jazz Inc.? Say they release this tomorrow. Do you lose a deposit? Has people already played in full? Because I did buy something from Jazz Inc. before. I told you I bought that Vulture Iron Scavenger back in the day, but I paid that in full, whatever. How does this work if this came out and they're like, I don't want the Jazz Inc. version anymore? Is it full cancellation, refund? I don't know how any of that works.
I mean, I don't know. Jost might handle it a little bit differently. I'm assuming he's still going to charge you an NRD. I would assume. Maybe he'll give you store credit or something, but I don't know. I've never bought a Jazz Inc. myself, so I can't really say. But maybe people in the chat can weigh in. But Marco, you haven't bought a Jazz Inc., have you?
I haven't. Just the price point that they command is just a little bit outside of the range I'm comfortable with, and I think Hot Toys, their offerings kind of in below $1,000. I feel okay about that. I'm like, okay, that's just enough It's obviously very expensive, but it's just enough for me to feel comfortable getting into it. So
Right.
that's why I desperately want them to do this, because Jazz Ink's a no-go. And I understand if folks want the premium version, good on you. But this one is just going to be good enough for me if they eventually do it.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. It's still, look, Jazz Ink one still looks great. So the weathered and the clean version. So either way, people will be happy. So I guess we shall see. That said, guys, thank you so much for your thoughts on that one. I think we got a super chat that I want to address here. Carlos is back, of course. So he asks, how white do you have to be to say tiddlywinks? Do you say dingleberry and skedaddle too? Skedaddle, that's not made its way into my vocabulary. Dingleberry every now and then, but that's a very specific thing. Like I wouldn't be like, hey, dingleberry. Like I wouldn't do that. But like it was like, it's more of like, like because a dingleberry, if you know what they are, then it's a little more specific of a term. But
when the dogs, maybe have one, you don't refer to a dingleberry.
That's where I was gonna go, Marco. Yeah, the dogs, they have a dingleberry. Yeah, that's the only time you would use that sentence. I'm sure.
Let's just get to it real quick. What is your definition of a dingleberry? Because I think
it's like a loose hanging turd. It's like
okay. So humans get those too, though.
Yeah, but you wouldn't walk around with it like
no. Of course,
I'm sure some would, honestly.
Yeah, some might, but not me.
Okay, gotcha.
So, yeah, I mean, I hope Keco, you don't, do you?
No. Bitch, I got a bidet.
You got a bidet?
Yeah.
I don't think I used the bidet. Maybe I didn't at your house. I didn't go bathroom.
You didn't get the full experience.
I never went number two.
You never went to the bathroom at my house?
I don't think I went number two at Kiko's house. Maybe I did.
He was too polite of a guest. He's like, I can't do it.
Yeah, I was too polite. Yeah.
You're like the perfect person ever. Like, I don't want to take anything from you. I don't even want to use your bathroom.
I'll go outside. Yeah, exactly. Bro.
Will, next time you're here, will you do me the honor of shitting on my bidet?
Yeah, I'll use the bidet, bro. Yeah. What were you gonna say, Marco?
Wow, that's how true friendships are made, right?
Yeah, exactly, bro.
I just wanted to tell Carlos this has nothing to do with the color of your skin, because I use "let's skedaddle" all the time. Like that's just a fun word to say. Come on, lighten up a bit, Carlos.
Do you actually say that, Marco?
Yeah, I'm like, come on, Gigi, let's skedaddle. Let's get out.
Oh, okay. See, there you go. See, Carlos should be.
It's just an old man thing, actually.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, because I'm 36 and I kind of say that too. So
yeah.
I don't say skedaddle. I don't know what my replacement word for that is. I probably say let's get the fuck out of here, like something like that. That's
but
probably.
You can't say that in front of mom.
Yeah, well, I would. My mom's pretty chill. She'll be like, "Yeah, let's get the fuck out of here." So
cool.
Yeah, I'm probably demonetized now, but it's fine. All right, guys. So let's address something else. We've kind of hinted at this a little bit here and there, but I want to talk about this. What figure do we want to see next from InArt? And Keco, I love Keco. Every time we bring up InArt, bro, I fucking love this, because Keco's gonna be like, my rooted hair sucks, and that's what he's gonna say every time. Anyway, guys, I love this. He's gonna go get his Joker. I know what he is. So we're gonna talk about InArt, right? This is the phase 1 list that originally they put out there, right? And they originally said, we're going to make the figures on this list. They never promised a specific order. They just said, here's what we want to make in phase 1. Now it's like, we kind of want to make some of those. We kind of don't. And we're just going to see what's going to happen, right? But I want to see what figures people really, guys, in the chat, drop below. If you're watching the clip, watch below, drop the, comment below about what figure you want to see next from InArt, from this list or maybe elsewhere, right? So for me, Marco, I'll go first since Keco is going to get his Joker. For me, if I'm looking at, of course, I want to see Pennywise release, but that's probably going to release sometime soon. I'm talking about announcement. What announcement do I want to see next from InArt, right? If that's the question, it's really tough, bro. It's either Jon Snow, it's either Daenerys, or it's Legolas. I think I'm going to have to go with Legolas because they've already started the Lord of the Rings line. Let's keep going Lord of the Rings, and then let's hit Game of Thrones hard after that. Keco, I want to jump to you. What do you want to see next from InArt? I have a feeling I know what it is, but tell me.
So, without a doubt, I need the Breaker of Chains, Mother of Dragons, Daenerys Targaryen, Stormborn. I need all that. I have been the 301 is not cutting it. Either of the 301s are not cutting it. I think I saw tease that they were going to do like the black suited like season 7, 8 one. I thought that was tease. Maybe I don't remember.
It was 30.
I want to see a better head sculpt, and I feel like InArt can deliver that. But if there's anybody that's going to have a one hell of a head of hair, it's going to be Daenerys Targaryen. And if I get this, I'm going to be disappointed.
So tragic, Keco.
Yeah, what happened to Keco's? What happened to Keco's?
People were flaming me in the comments saying, they're like, you should know that you, they're like, let's see it. This is it. I have not done anything with it. I've not taken the damn paintbrush to it like anyone has talked about, anything like that, because I feel like I don't need to do that. It's too poofy. I want it to lay better. The jail version looks fine. That was fine. But this one is unacceptable. I mean, just look at that.
There's a comment, Johnny Charles, that his Joker looks like Krusty the Clown.
No, for real, it looks like my grandma's hair, and like I don't want to see Grandma Zelda up here. I want to see.
Keco, what happened, bro? Like
it came literally out of the
because
plastic
mine
box
doesn't
like
look
this.
like that.
For
It's
someone
kind of
who
fabulous,
waited,
though.
maybe for
It kind of
someone
looks like Wonder Woman.
for someone who waited so long and bitched so much only to have this be the delivery, you're gonna have to do a lot to win me back. So I mean, I waited way too long for this. I mean, I don't know. If someone knows like the best way to get this fixed, please let me know, because I don't want to have to keep doing it, because I've also seen people that mess with it and yeah, it'll lay it down more, but then it looks like someone like took a dirty brush through their hair or something, and it looks like wavy as opposed to like crimpy. Does that make sense? Like I don't want it to look like someone like, I don't want it to look like the rooted like crappy Hot Toys hair, not the great Wonder Woman version, but the rooted crappy hair. So
the reason I took the banner down, Keco, is because this has got to be the thumbnail. This has got to be the thumbnail of the video, of the clip.
Yeah, so there it is.
Oh my God.
This is it. So this is my InArt Joker. So all that to say is that I want to see Daenerys 100%. But I also a close tie, because I feel like it'd be a lot easier to do, because if you don't get Daenerys' hair right, it's going to look like ass. And her sculpt has to be perfect too. But the Joaquin Joker, for sure. Those are my 1A, 1B.
Joaquin Joker is going to be dope, because also it's going to be limited. It's going to be exclusive figure.
Oh, we know I like that.
I know, and I think they actually, I don't know if they're going to number it. I do know it's going to be pricey though. It's going to be like $1,000. So
will it be signed by Joaquin himself?
That would be amazing. I would be
all over that, because I know like that Batmobile from Jazz Inc. had like Snyder signature.
Yeah, Snyder. Yeah, Joaquin seems pretty tough though to get him to do something like that. So
did you get a chance to watch There's Something Wrong with Barry, or whatever his new one was?
I didn't see it. No, but is it good?
I haven't either. Apparently, it's from the same people that made Hereditary and Midsommar and all that stuff. It's a horror film. Yeah, so like I haven't got around to it yet.
I'm ready to not sleep for another 2 nights when I watch
I know, right? Is it a horror film?
It is considered a horror film, but it's once again in the broad daylight, like Midsommar or whatever. But it's like a psychological thing, like to where when it finally gets there, you're like, what the hell? But they said it's a very difficult watch, because it's kind of like the slow burn, and so if you're not really into it, I don't know if anybody else.
Well, that's how Midsommar is. That's how I pronounce it, at least. But Midsommar, like that is very much a slow burn film. Like so is Hereditary. When you get to the end, though, you're like, oh my god.
Hereditary is not a slow burn, I think, because it starts off. Spoiler. I mean, it starts off with the creepy girl, and then she obviously loses her head, and then
that was pretty intense. Yeah,
that's pretty wild. Beau is Afraid. That's what it's called. Beau is Afraid. Thank you.
Yeah. Right. Marco, what do you think? I mean, what do you want to see next? I'm going to put my vote officially as Legolas, and Kiko's going Daenerys. What do you think, Marco, for your vote?
I think we'll have a lot of diversity in our opinions here. Really quick rant about InArt though, since Keco kind of started this. They need to give us an updated product plan. This was so great. This was so antithetical to what their competition normally does. And then the fact that this is kind of like a vestige that's of when they started, and it no longer is really compatible, or excuse me, no longer applicable to what they're actually doing. At least we can kind of speculate, right? Because there's a few figures that probably will not make the cut. They got to let it, and a few that they've announced outside of this list, they just got to let us know what the plan is so we can plan ahead, because these figures are not cheap. So, into my rant there, but incredibly excited for Christian Bale Batman. I think we need a 2-pack, right? We need a good Bruce Wayne Christian Bale. So if they kind of took I think J&D did the 2 statues, right? Christian Bale, or excuse me, Bruce Wayne and Batman. So if they kind of took that inspiration, gave us a 2-pack, would be all in on that. And then I think Superman. I think I've got 3 Henry Cavill Supermen from Hot Toys. Love those figures, but I know people have a lot of complaints with the head sculpt, with just various aspects of the figure. I think they could make a really strong Henry Cavill Justice League, either black and silver suit, or the classic colors. That I'm incredibly excited to see what they do there. So within the DC realm, I like other ones such as Daenerys, such as Legolas. I'm excited to see those, but I want them to start tackling the DC a bit more here. So I know they're trying to get diverse with their offerings, but give us a few more DC. At least teases, at least show us the prototype to get us hype here. So That's those are the two that I'm going to land with.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, what do you guys, I mean, think about the, possibility of releases soon? I mean, because I know Pennywise would probably be pretty soon, I would think, and Gandalf should hope they've already teased him, right? So I mean, hasn't technically released yet at this point, which I thought he did, but he didn't apparently. I don't know. No one seems to really know because they're not really communicating as much, right? But I will say, I mean, what do you guys think about releases so far this year? I mean, those are probably the only two releases we're going to see this year now. I mean, Pennywise and Gandalf, because the other ones, like, you're not going to see Harry Potter this year, probably.
No,
So,
you're certainly not going to see releases. I mean, even I think back to when they did kind of what they did with Gandalf, because apparently that's the next one, right? Or is it Pennywise?
Right. Pennywise, I think should have been, but I think Gandalf is probably going to come.
Well, either way, I remember when they did the Joker show off or whatever. It's like, we're getting close. Here's all the bodies. Here's all the stuff in the shadows. To where we're not going to show you really what it looks like, as we talked about last week. But it was still months out from when they showed that, and I don't think you're seeing another release before the fall. Honestly, I'd be shocked if they did anything this summer.
That's a good point. I forgot about it. Mark put up Aragorn. Aragorn's a good yeah. I don't think he's coming out this year though. I think he's probably coming out next year. Maybe
early. It's going to go under, and they won't release any other figures.
Oh gosh, don't
even put that
evil
on us, bro. Don't even put that evil on us, because
I think.
Yeah, go ahead, Marco.
Sorry, you're going to say we need the competition out there, right? That's
right. Yeah. But go ahead. Sorry, I didn't want to cut you off.
No. So I think we're going to see 3 releases. I think that they will give us the Pennywise, the Gandalf, but I think they may trickle out the Batman right before the holidays, like they did with the Joker. Get a handful of them out there, because that feels like there's probably a really long lead on that particular figure. I'm sure they had a lot of pre-orders for that one, so I wouldn't be shocked if we saw kind of the first few just into the wild right before the end of the year.
That makes sense. Yeah, the Batman. I forgot about the Pattinson Batman. Yeah, I know Riley didn't, but yeah, he's
top comment. CT5597 Jesse says, "What's the point of saying you're going to do all these figures when you can't produce them?" That's my question. You got to start doing something, man.
Well, they produce them just slowly, but the quality, Keco, besides yours, the quality is there. So I don't know what happened to yours.
Yawn.
I don't know what happened to yours, bro. But
it's because of all the shit talking I did about where's mine. They're like purposely picked one that was
send him the fucking reject one. Yeah,
I guarantee it, dude. Mine was like a return, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, guys, let us know in the comments what you think. What you want to see next from InArt. I'm excited to see whatever they put out, but the Harry Potter one's not for me. But I still think it's a cool looking figure, so it's just not going to be for me. It's not going to be my collection. Fig Fate, thank you so much, bro. The second host of 1/6 Wrestling, appreciate you, bro. Thank you so much. I don't think it's smart for them to announce to the competitors what their plan is, though. What do you guys think about that?
They've already done it though, and so now it just leads to confusion for their consumers. If they've already put out a list, then they've already announced what they're doing. So I kind of disagree, but what do you think, Keco?
I mean, it's good in a way because it's the Wonder Woman situation. Everyone's like, well, I'll just wait for the InArt Wonder Woman. It keeps people from pre-ordering for sure, but then you can only keep that shtick up for so long because everyone will be like, gee, can I get this Wonder Woman now if I go ahead and opt into this little lottery or thing? If I get it in like 2 months. This hasn't even been released yet. I might get it in 6 years at this point. So I feel like it could backfire the more you show your hand.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, well,
because isn't that the fun? Sorry, I interrupted your
your
sign off, but isn't that one of the fun things about Hot Toys is that when you wake up to see what their reveal is, you're like, oh, cool, didn't see this coming. That's one of the fun about it. Same thing with releases, like you don't know what's coming.
Well, maybe the one, and I think almost, Marco, I think they are kind of backtracking. Like I almost think they realized maybe it wasn't a good idea after they did it, because for one, it locked them into people's minds of saying, oh, they're going to do these figures, where now they're kind of like changing their mind. And also it kind of like set a precedent and set an expectation for people like, oh, they're going to do them in this order and so forth. And now they're not doing them. And it created a whole thing. So I think
more confusion than it was.
Yeah. So it's almost like, yeah, you're right. They did already put it out there. So the one thing I do like though is maybe a compromise. Like maybe they don't put out what they're going to make, but once things are in production, like they're pretty good about giving updates. They're saying like, okay, Gandalf's at this point, Pennywise at this point. I like that. Right. I like that. But maybe they just don't do, we're going to make X and we're going to make Y, because, they don't want to sort of tip their hand and, and say what they're making or not. So
makes sense. And I agree with Keco though. That's one of the fun parts of this hobby is you just don't know what Hot Toys is going to drop at any given time. It's so random that it gives us something to look forward to.
Yeah, you might wake up tomorrow and see just something random out there that you always wanted that you never expected. So, I mean, like the figures like, like Oscar Reeves, for example, that just popped up one day and you're like, oh shit, that looks amazing, right? Like it's, it just doesn't happen as much.
Transformer Black Panther,
Yeah, that's
what
the
everyone
one,
had been
bro.
wanting,
That's the
what
one.
everyone
That's the one.
wanted.
Yeah, that's the
Jeez.
one. Yeah, it's interesting. So, guys, I want to ask the question, dude. This will be our final topic of the evening. I ran a poll and I thought the results were pretty interesting. So I want to address this briefly because I want to ask the chat and the panel here kind of what's going on. And this was a separate poll we'll address in a different chat. But I wanted to bring up the statue topic, right? So I ran a poll and you can see here the results. Do you collect statues? 33% yes, 67% no. So a lot of collectors, these are primarily 1/6 collectors, obviously, and they don't collect statues, maybe space, money, whatever the case may be. But I want to ask the question, are Hot Toys collectors overlooking statues? Because until you get your first statue, there's something special about it. There's something special about Hot Toys too. They each have their own little place in your collection. But statues are it's tough, man, because I love both of them and I try to make room for both of them. You can't have as many statues. I get that. They take up way more real estate. It's challenging, right? But Keco, you're a man who has statues. You have figures. Are Hot Toys collectors overlooking statues here? What do you think?
I wouldn't say they're overlooking, but I certainly overlooked myself. I remember when I went to story time. Get that off my page. I don't want to see this.
This isn't InArt, bro. This is Queen Studios.
Okay, I got triggered for a second. Sorry.
This is the good one. This is the good one.
But I remember when I went and picked up a couple local figures from somebody here, and I went into their house. They were selling some 6-scale figures, whatever. And I was amazed because I'd never really seen in person. This is before I'd actually been to Replay Toys, because Replay Toys is where I see all the statues in person, because there's a Sideshow affiliate, all that stuff. So this was beforehand. And I'd never seen a premium format statue in person. And like, I walked in there to get what I had bought, but I'll be damned if I wasn't looking a little harder at some of them, just from the colors, the poses. I'm thinking of there's one they had specifically. It was a Cyclops or whatever, and just the way it's built, the way everything lays. I mean, you're going to get the best pose you can possibly take. But there's my Venom right there. That is one of the coolest pieces I've ever seen, and that's why I own it. And it's so cool. You walk up my stairs, and there it is. But I wouldn't say people are overlooking it by any means, because it's hard to miss them. It depends on, hey, do I really want to dedicate this much shelf space? And I think if anyone's listening to this, you've probably heard us talk enough about it, about how cautious you need to be potentially when it comes to these. No one is just going out on a whim saying, yeah, I'll just drop $800 on this giant ass thing that I have to possibly rent a truck to get home. No one's doing that. There's very few impulse buys with statues. So I think that helps it as well. If you're buying a statue, you know what you're getting it for, and most likely it means something to you. But I will say, until you've seen one in person, I don't think you can judge those that do have them, because they do hit different. That's what
they do hit different. There's something pretty special about it. I mean, some of the statues I have here, most of them Prime 1. I mean, Sauron, Baldur and Kratos, Jin Sakai. I mean, these statues are just absolutely incredible, and some of my favorite pieces in my entire collection. As much as I love my Hot Toys, man, it'd be hard to give up these statues. That said, Marco, what do you think? I mean, I think do you have any statues? I don't remember.
I don't yet. No.
Okay, so you're in the boat then. So what do you think? I mean, have you considered statues? What's been your thought process?
I definitely have thought about statues, and there have been a few that speak to me. I think the ones that are most appealing are representation I can't get in 1/6. So
Mm.
this Venom is a perfect example. There was also a premium format, or I think maquette, Bane, that sold out recently that I really liked. I saw it in Calvin's collection. I kept my draws on, but it looks great. It's kind of, he's got this, arms cross pose. It had the Batmobile as the base. It had swappable heads. And I was like, this is something that I cannot get a figure of. And the presence, even if I did get a figure, the presence would be nowhere near the same. And it was reasonably priced as well. I think it was like in the 600 range. So something like that is very appealing to me. But I'm a bit nervous, because I know myself. I know the moment I get one, I'm going to want a whole bunch. And so, yeah, the Queen Studios puts out incredible stuff. J&D, that's obviously just on the deep end of what I would ever do. But who knows, if I got introduced into the hobby, who knows what I would do. I've got an addictive personality. So I think overall, I think I stick with figures, and I think a lot of other folks stick with figures because it's a little closer to the action figures that I grew up with, right? It's just kind of an adult version of those action figures. and the statues are just a little bit removed from that. They're like fun display pieces, but it doesn't give you that posability. It doesn't give me that feeling of being a kid again. And maybe that's the point. Maybe it's a bit more mature step for a lot of people. And oh gosh, the Sauron is incredible as well. So you're not getting the figure of this. I mean, maybe InArt will do him eventually, but it'll be nowhere near this Prime One statue that Will you've got. So yeah, at the end of the day, I think I am overlooking them, but I'm okay for now, just kind of staying within my figure realm because it's just a little bit closer to what I love. But I'm not opposed to getting a figure if there's something that really, really spoke to me, and of course the price had to be right.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, someone asked, Will, can you show the Jin Sakai statue? I mean, I could show it. I mean, it's right behind me, but let's see if I can get out of the way. So you can see it's right there, right?
Oh, your guns are blocking, Will.
Oh my god, you can see Dark Side Anakin actually to the other side. So I can't point in the right direction. But that's the Jin Sakai side, a little bit out of focus, right? But you can see how much presence it has, dude. It is incredible. Obviously, all this would be behind Maji cases, which they actually are arriving over the next couple of weeks. Very excited about that. But this Jin Sakai is absolutely incredible. You can see Baldur and Kratos on that side over there. So I can never get my hands. The camera's opposite, but basically, and then Sauron's back there, and then I have other statues, around as well. And the Infinity Gauntlet. I guess I consider that a statue, right? Infinity Gauntlet 1-to-1. So
it's an incredible piece,
dude. There are some really incredible things out there. So, and like someone put out J&D, Dinesh said J&D is about to do Christopher Reeves. They've teased it. So yeah, I mean, there's some really good stuff. I don't own a J&D. I've never had one. I was going to get one at one point. I decided not to. But I mean, yeah, there's a lot of great statues, and they're even smaller statues. They don't have to be quarter scale, half scale, whatever. There's a lot of great stuff out there. So guys, consider it. There's even Iron Studios 10 scale. Those are a nice little gateway. But the Prime One and and J&D and Queen and all that, they just hit different. They're interesting. But you got to be more selective. They take up a lot of your budget. So you got to plan them out. So guys, thank you so much. I think we had an awesome show. So I think we're going to pretty much wrap it there. So I appreciate everyone in the chat engaging with these topics. And of course, this Avengers level panel for contributing their awesome thoughts. That said, Mr. Keco Collects, thank you, bro, for, as always, being my co-host. What is going on the gram, on the YouTube? I saw you posted a vlog. What's going on?
Yeah. Well, last week, whenever that was, we had ICCC with Dave Shaw and I, Order 66 Junkie from Typical Nerd Talk, the other podcasts I do. And we did a video vlog on the YouTube channel, if you believe that or not. And we had a hell of a time. It was super fun. So if you like vlogs, check that out on the old YouTube channel. And Will, there's something else I'm going to have to talk with you about off air, about something that may be coming to the channel that I'm considering.
Ooh, okay.
I may get your opinions on that. So more stuff's coming to YouTube potentially very soon. Stay tuned for that. But the real heat, the real fun is over on Instagram. That's where everything happens. We are closing in on the 10,000 mark over on Instagram, and things are going really well there. We're having reels hit 200,000, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me because I think they are terrible. They're terrible, but people keep eating them up. So obviously give the people what they want. So check me out over on Instagram for toy photography, reel reviews, and obviously reels in general of just weird trending sounds of me doing weird stuff. So that's where it is. But tomorrow I'm going to be going live. So feel free on Instagram, obviously. I'm going to be doing live kind of tour of the new Replay Toys. So we're going to go check that out tomorrow. So that'll be around noon Central Time. So if you want to jump on Instagram, it obviously will be posted to my IG to watch later on. So we'll see what the new digs are like. See if there's anything good. You guys will be able to see some really cool statues in person. And one thing I did see, because they showed me a behind the scenes, they built Costa cases in the store to house their statues to be able to show them better that they have there. So they did a really, really good job. So I can't wait to show you guys that. And who knows, maybe I'll even come home with something. You never know. But I'll be repping my Replay Toys shirt tomorrow as well. So check that out. All the stuff. Will, pleasure as always. Drago did bark, but it was on mute, so it didn't count. So he went through the whole show. Nothing.
I was about to say, I didn't hear Drago a single time, bro, the whole show. He didn't even show up at all. So he's slacking today, bro. He's slacking. So, but thank you so much, Keco, for joining, bro. And of course, I got to thank the amazing Marco, Mr. 16 Fix, half of the She Said No podcast. Marco, bro, thank you so much for joining. What's coming up on the channel, man?
Will, thanks for having me. Apologies to everyone for being late today. It was just tech issues on my end. But what's coming up on the channel, I would say I just did an interview with Joao this morning. So an episode of the She Said No podcast, Big Bretta. We had a great conversation, kind of tearing off the conversation that Will and I had 2 weeks ago. I believe it was 2 weeks ago. So go check out our channel and go watch that, conversation with Will and with Joao. I think they're really good companion pieces and kind of complementary to our process of the She Said No podcast and what we're trying to do with that podcast. So until Gigi is back on here in the near future, I think I've had some amazing guests so far. I will also like to plug LWO is on P-Rock's channel tonight. So should be starting about 10:45 Eastern time. So go check that out over on his channel. I don't think I'm going to be able to be on tonight, but still should be a pretty fun, wacky time. And then I'm on Collecting Weekly just about every Tuesday. So go check us out over there. But yeah, great time today. Didn't get too heated. We didn't push ourselves there. So maybe next time we can,
No, we're good, bro. We're good. It was fun because, I like to disagree with Keco. Marco, you were the voice of reason, bro. You're the voice of reason. So
I just try to play both sides.
It got hot and heavy the first little bit of this show. So
yeah, but I thought it was great, bro.
It really toned itself down. So
yeah, it was fun because I was like, Keco, this one woman is ass, bro. He was like, he's like, no, absolutely not. It was great. It was great. Oh, man. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining. Appreciate you. It was always a fun show. And yeah, hopefully you have a good weekend. And yeah, it's crazy. We're almost halfway through the year. So when we get halfway, when we get halfway through the year, I was thinking about doing it today and just kind of rushing it, but I was like, I'm going to wait. We're going to do a Q1 and Q2 evaluation of Hot Toys so far this year and see like what has been released, what has been, announced and how we're feeling about it. We could even do InArt, any other companies people want to talk about.
InArt segment is going to be about 30 seconds. So.
Yeah, right. It's like Joker and that's it. Yeah, right. So, and Harry Potter's been announced. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace out. See you later. Bye. Bye. Bye.